I don't like to look at life with the words I should. I should have done this. I should do this. Just those two words I think are very dangerous when thinking about one's life. Of I should have. I shouldn't be here right now. I should be somewhere else. This should have happened. I should have done this. I should have. You can go down a long list of things that you should have done or things that should have happened. We all have a list of things that should have taken place. When I look back into my past, there's a lot of things where I felt, there should have been somebody like this in my life so that I should be somewhere else, so that I should be there where I should be. Or I should have done this so that I can be where I should be. See? The reason why I think it's dangerous is because it can take you down a rabbit hole that can just put you in a rut or just make you depressed in a way. I mean, when you look at people who are depressed, what you often find is that what's consuming them is a lot of shoulds. This should have happened. This should be like this. I should have done this. I should have. So many shoulds that have just consumed them so much that they've lost sight of other things. Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Well, we all are. Even to this day, I still find myself in moments where I say I should have done this, I could have done this. This is what should happen. And I think to a degree it is healthy. Looking back at your past, it's healthy. Anybody that says you should leave the past behind, the past has a lot of valuable things there that you can use as a tool for your future. Because if you don't understand your past, you're bound to repeat it in the future. I think you should look at your past as something to use that is valuable information for you to take a step forward. Because the past is the past. It doesn't exist anymore. The only thing that exists is right now, right here. Even the past, the memories that you have, you're having those memories of that past in the present. That past doesn't exist, it's gone. What can you do right now? That's what's the most important thing. Okay, those things happened. But what did I take out of those things? Those tragedies that happened, what did I take out of it? What did I learn from it? Because in life, for everything that you lose, you gain something else. There are many pivotal periods of life where I felt I missed out on a lot of things. Like with school, for example. I feel I missed out on a lot of experiences that I can't relate with my peers that much. In terms of school, in terms of a drama with teachers, in terms of, matric dances, going to school dances and all that. I can't relate with that stuff. But during that time, where I wasn't there, where I wasn't doing what my peers were doing, what did I take out of those experiences? What did I learn? Who did I become? And in many ways, I feel I've become a great person as a result of some of those tragic things that have happened. There's a lot that came out of it. For everything that you lose, you gain something else. Find out what that thing you gained from that experience is. And moving forward, try to fulfill those needs that you have, but with the person that you are right now. Because I think when we use the word I should, we often think of the person that we used to be, and we try to almost recapture who we used to be and try to almost redeem ourselves or try to achieve those needs through something that is no longer here. Does that make sense? Like, as I said in the beginning, I think it's good to look back at your past. There's a lot of valuable things you can get from it. But similar to our inner critic and doubt, we can often have dysfunctional relationships with our doubt and our inner critic. Whereas I often think these two things are trying to help us in a way. Our doubt is often something that warns us about potential dangers ahead. Our inner critic is something that's aware of our defects and is constantly trying to put a light to our defects so that we can polish things up. But we often have dysfunctional relationships with this part of ourselves, and we can go down this rabbit hole that can put us in a rut. And when using the words should, shouldn't, should have, shouldn't have, these are valuable words to use when thinking about your life, but they can also become defective when you overstay your welcome when thinking about your life using these words. Because when you look at things that you should have done, things that you should do, they're valuable because you can inform your present self, learning from your past self, so that your future self is better prepared for another situation that has similar characteristics. Yeah. One situation that I've recently been in is I've recently figured out how airports work. Like, for the longest time, I just didn't know how airports worked, especially because the airport I go to is huge, so it can often be intimidating, like checking in, that whole process. Where do you find your aeroplane? Where do you go? But recently I figured it out. I know where to go. And I even if I get lost, I know I can ask somebody for directions. But often in places where you get help, you often find that most of the people there can often not really be that helpful or insightful. If anything, they can almost discourage you from learning things in any place. And I've experienced that a lot in airports. When you'd ask for help, ask for directions, people would almost give you this expression of, you should know this by now, or you should have done this should have happened, this should. There's a lot of that in their expression and even in the way they speak. And I see that a lot in the world. When you're trying to educate yourself on something, trying to learn something, a lot of teachers, a lot of people just have this, you should have done this, you should know this by now. There's a lot of that. Whereas I think there should be more people in the world that just see, okay, this person is misinformed. This person doesn't know this kind of information, doesn't know where to go. Let me inform them as best as possible. Let me educate them on this situation as best as possible. But no, there's a lot of people that make you feel like you've made a massive mistake. Like, where have you been all your life that you don't know how airports work? Where have you been all your life that you don't know how to find an aeroplane? And there's a lot of that in the world, and it's not just with airports. It's everywhere. And when you become aware of this trait, this characteristic that many people have of you should know this by now, you can be aware of that characteristic, and you can overcome, you can move around it, because it's like obstacles. It's like the person who informs you and tells you, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to go here, and there, and do this. It's like a bridge being created. And then there are those who discourage you, and they tell you, oh, you should be here in life by now. You're this age? Well, you should be here. You should be doing this in life. This is the phase of life you should be in. Those discouraging words, or that discouraging embodying of educating somebody or giving somebody insight, it's like a bridge being created with thorns, with like obstacles that you have to like jump over, and those obstacles can often exhaust you if you're not prepared for it. But when you're aware of it, when you're aware that, okay, there are a lot of people in the world that can discourage you from things, you can learn many things to move around it in a way. You can go through those obstacles seamlessly. Yeah. I think in a divine sense, we're all in the right place at the right time. I don't think there's any grain of sand that's in the wrong place. Life itself is a tragedy. You're born into this world crying. You were in your mother's womb. Life in there was so comfortable. The temperature was perfect. You got food, you could eat. In fact, you didn't even need to eat. You just digested because of the umbilical cord. You just digested your food. Life was just naturally digestible in a way. And maybe you had some minor discomforts in your mother's womb because life was poking at you saying, look, it's almost time for you to come out, so you better get ready. But other than that, life was good. Life was groovy. And then you were born, and everything happened all at once. There's this strange creature that's cutting your umbilical cord. There's this light, this strange light that's emitting from some direction. You don't know what the hell is going. What even is light? All of a sudden the temperature is different. It's cold. You're moving around. There's these weird visuals that's happening all around you. What is going on? All of a sudden life isn't digestible anymore. There's just a lot of alien things that's around you. And growing up into this world, you're taught and raised to mechanisms, you're given tools on how to digest life, how to digest the information around you, how to digest the human race, the human civilization that we live in. Because the human civilization game that us human beings are playing is a very complicated game. And growing up, going into school is a process of training you to be a part of it, training you to understand it. Yeah. There's this quote that I find interesting. This thing that I read the other day. And it said something along the lines of, if being born is the greatest act of creation, then what are you supposed to do after that? Isn't everything that comes next sort of a disappointment? Slowly entropying until we dissolve into a pile of mush. And I think there's a lot of truth within that. When you observe us human beings, we almost bond over complaining about life. We bond over just complaining about everyday minor tragedies that happen to us. It's like, I was stuck in traffic and this person decided he wants to bump ahead of me and he scratched my car. And another person says, oh yeah, that happened to me too. That same thing happened to me too. What day was it on? It was on February 9th. Me too. We bond over that. We're like, whoa, I'm not crazy. This existence is just chaos. This life is just a mess. And the best and the worst amongst us know how to simplify it. Life, 1 minute you think you know everything, you've mastered the universe. But hey, life has a talent for giving you a surprise. And tomorrow, you're demonstrated with obstacles that are in an arrangement, in an order you've just never seen before. Yeah. But I think it's detrimental when thinking of your life as I shouldn't be here right now. I should be somewhere else. This shouldn't have happened. This should have happened. And I'll be honest, I sometimes think like that. I sometimes go down those rabbit holes. I think we all do. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes. And I've had many difficulties, many problems, many dangers, many defects about myself. But I asked for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, and God gave me problems to solve. I asked for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked to be someone people can take inspiration from, admire. And God gave me defects that I need to challenge within myself, so that one day I can reach depths that many others are battling with, and I can meet people where they are. You can only meet someone at the depths that they've met within themselves. So, to you, whoever's on the other side of this listening, meet yourself where you are, not where you think you should be. So, with that said, thank you for listening, and until all are one.